Hey folks, SoloGamer here, and we're going to start a new game series today, and this one's going to be called Mansions of Madness. Mansions of Madness is made by Fantasy Flight Games, so you know you're going to get a good product, you're going to get good quality opponents, and we're going to look at some of those components in a minute. And basically this is a spin-off of the Arkham Horror, the Elder Signs, and now even Eldritch Horror. Use the same characters, same type of monsters, that kind of stuff, but this one is more story driven. And also, this one is a 2-player plus game. You can't really play this game solo. It really doesn't work, although I bet you could if you wanted to modify it. We may try that eventually. But this is going to be a 2-player game. When we play it, we're going to be playing with my eldest daughter. So basically, Mansions of Madness is just a more story-driven type of game from Arkham Horror. Now, it does have a couple of expansions. You get the base game, which comes with a lot. But then they came out with the Forbidden Alchemy expansion, which adds some more monsters, characters, tiles, and stuff like that. And then they came out with Call of the Wild expansion. Same thing, but this added more along the lines of outdoor type stuff and some allies and some stuff like that. Eventually we're going to be looking at different scenarios for each one of these. And they have several, which I have all of them, several print-on-demand or print-and-play scenarios. They're about $12, $14. They come with cards and stuff like that. It's one scenario, but you can usually play each scenario about 3 different times, and it plays differently each time, according to the choices that are set up beforehand. So I guess it's an alright value for 12 bucks. But we're not going to start with any of that. We're going to start with the base game here and play with the base game. I just want to express that, to me, this was the kind of the start of the tile games for me. This was the first game I got that used the tiles. So it was it wasn't until after I had got this game that I started looking at games with tiles and stuff like that. So to me, this was the start of the tile phase for me. As I said, all the components are very excellent because you know it's Fantasy Flight Games. The website's good, so you know you're going to get support or whatever you're looking for on the website. We're going to go through a playthrough and I'm going to explain everything. I don't get to play this game as much as I like to, because since it is a multiplayer type game. And what it is basically one player plays the Overseer and one player plays the heroes, or if you have 2 people playing the heroes or 3 people playing the heroes. And basically you're telling the story as the Overseer. And your objective as the Overseer is to stop the players from finding out the resolution of the story, either by killing them or stopping them from finding the clues, or you have an objective as the Overseer to accomplish as well, or if you accomplish your objective, you win the game. It's a lot different from Arkham Horror. There are a hell of a lot of components in this game, especially if you get the expansions. There's a hell of a lot of stuff to keep up, and as far as setup goes, you have to preset the game up, so it does take some work to do that, and I'll show you that in just a second. Is it fun? Yes, it is fun. When you play with a couple people, it is fun. Some of the rules are a little as some of the things are not clear on how to do certain things, or when you set something up, it's something that gets set up right, but I don't foresee any problems with it. So Mansions of Madness, is it worth getting? Well, I'll let you decide that. As I said, we're going to go through several different playthroughs eventually and to see what it's like. I want to do well, I want to say this first. When the Forbidden Alchemy thing came out, they came out with some really bad, messed up rules and just messed up stuff. But Fantasy Flight quickly fixed it. So if you buy this game now, you're going to get all the corrected versions of Forbidden Alchemy. Is the base game, is it like Fortune and Glory where you need an expansion to really make it complete? No. You can get the base game and play right away, and it'll feel complete to you. Although the Call of the Wild does add outdoor tiles and stuff like that, it does add a lot more, and Forbidden Alchemy adds a little bit more. If you really like this game, then I would recommend getting the expansions and then work your way on to the print and play type stuff. It's going to be expensive, so that's up to you. But you know, you can decide if you want to see it through my playthroughs and see how things go, then you can decide. But we're going to go ahead and I'll show you how the game is set up, and we'll come back. Okay, as you can see, we got the game set up on the tiles here. And every scenario has a predetermined way you set the tiles up. And as you can see, the tiles are pretty good and detailed, nice looking, you know. Also, you see a bunch of cards on the game board. Well, that has a predetermined way what cards you put and where you put them. And these cards right here are just regular cards. Characters can spend action to see what they are. But then you have locked door cards that usually when you flip that card up, it tells you how you can try to open that door. You have obstacle cards. If you're going to explore this room, you have to get past a certain obstacle and stuff like that. The characters are basically the same from Arkham Horror. They come with the strength, marksmanship, dexterity, intellect, willpower, lore, and luck. Usually come with a starting item, health, sanity, but they also have these skill points. And they're kind of like what you can do if you fail, and you use a 10-sided dice in this game, and if you fail to make an attribute check, like let's say you want to make a horror check against a monster and you fail, you can spend one of these skill points and it'll add your luck. So if she has a luck of 2, she would add that 2 to her willpower, which would be 5. So that total would be 7, and then you would roll, and you roll underneath that 7, and you would make your check. So that's how that works. This game has stuff on the board that you can interact with sometimes as well. These things are like barred doors. You can't go through those doors. Okay, and so, you know, they have obstacles, like they have this little bookcase. You can spend an action to push it in front of a door. Something you can hide in and alter that spawns things and stuff like that. So that's the hero side. As you see, you have your little mini hero figures. I did a little paint job. They start here at the beginning of the game. And what you'll do is you read them a story, and then they'll try to solve what happens in the story. As you can see, I have some monsters here. Good little things. I just didn't paint them right. But this kind of like Arkham Horror. You have your horror check, you have your evade check up here, and you have your horror check. And whenever a monster enters a room with a hero, they're going to have to make a horror check. And then on the back it tells you what you don't know, because each one's different. See, this maniac's different. The back of it is different from this one. How much health it has, and how much damage, and if you pass a, you know, special conditions, pass a test or something. And we'll go over combat. And so basically the objective is them to find the objective of the game before these time cards run out. Now each round you're going to put a time token on the card, and that one says 3, and when this card gets 3 time tokens on it, this event card turns over and you read what happens. And usually if you get down to the last one, that's not going to be good. It's going to be the end of the game. This game is different, where when you fight a monster you have to draw what type of monster card it is. So like a maniac is a blue. See how the blue on there? So you're going to pull a blue monster card, and it's going to tell you if you don't have any weapon, how you pass the attack. If you have a melee weapon, how you pass the attack. And then the monster makes its special attack. Okay, it's when the monster attacks. So, and their special attack is on the bottom of their figure, and each one's different. Sometimes you got to test your dexterity, sometimes you got to test your strength, sometimes you got to test your will. It's always different. Okay, and so, and if you have like a gun weapon, you would keep drawing until you would find one with a gun weapon. And then these are for like the brown monsters, and then these are for like the real big bad monsters, kind of like these things are. They'll have it on their card. The overseer will have an objective, what my objective is for this game and how I win. The keeper wins if the final event card is resolved. The investigators win if Walter, nameless maniac, is killed. So each one will give you an objective because you choose from 3 objectives for the story. And what happens is these are trauma and mythos cards. Mythos cards here, trauma cards here. And each scenario, each story gives you a different bunch of powers. And how you use these powers. Like in this game, we're going to play the Fall of House Lynch. I get the Evil Presence, the Maniac Attack, the Command Minion, the Take Sample, and the Uncontrollable Urges. And they all have these little numbers on the top. Now, for every player that plays the game, when it's the Overseer's turn, he will gain threat tokens equal to the number of players. So we're having 2 players in this game. I will get 2 threat tokens each round. Now, each round, I can spend these threat tokens to do an action on the card. Now I need 4 to spin to do this card, but I need 1 threat, 1 threat, 1 threat, or 2 threat. Okay, so I could do Evil Presence and I could do Command Minion for my first turn each round, or Take Sample. I decide what I do depending on how the players are going, depending on how the story's going. If I didn't want to spin any threat, I wouldn't have to. I could save it and hoard it up to try to get 4 for a Maniac Attack. Okay, so you know, like Evil Presence, draw 1 mythos and 1 trauma card, and then the players would have to suffer the penalties on there. Maniac Attack. If no maniacs are in play, choose a lone investigator, place 1 maniac in his space. Command Minion. Move a monster up to 2 spaces. And each game is different. So each game you're going to get as the Overseer different actions you can do. Different monsters that come in. Of course, each one has different time cards. So every different scenario for this game is totally different from the other one. The thing is set up differently. The Overseer gets different cards. Different monsters will come in play. Special rules. So it really is a very replay heavy type game. Okay? That's one of the great things about this game, Mansions of Madness. Let me explain how the actions for the heroes. The heroes get 2 movement and 1 action. Okay? And of course, as you can tell, movement is by these little white lines. So he can move, spend an action to explore, which he would flip over that card, and then he can move again. Now, although they get 2 actions, they could do the 2 movement and then that 1 action. They can spend that action to do several things. They could explore. They could move an extra step. It's called running. They could cast a spell, use an item, fight a monster, anything. So, among other things. So that's basically what happens. And as you see, they'll move through the doors. And if they come to a room with a locked door, they'll flip over that locked door, and there's an obstacle they have to do. One of the unique things about this game is this game offers puzzles that you'll see when we play, that the players will have to solve, like game puzzles. You put the puzzle here, and they have to solve it, and they have so many turns to solve it, and that type of thing. You'll see what I'm talking about when we go through that. So that's basically Mansions of Madness. As you'll see through the playthrough, how it'll work, and how every game is just varying different. And if I missed anything, we'll probably cover it eventually. On that note, okay. So we'll get this thing set up, and then we'll start playing. See you then.